Good morning, guys. This weekend, I have a lot of things I want to do, a lot of things that I don't have supplies to do. And something that's been a thorn in my side, which has been the engine hump. I started just laying out strips of metal across to where I'm thinking the new one I'm going to build is going to be. I do have material for that. So I'm going to kind of work this out here in my head and then start showing you what I'm going to do. So what I'll do is I will swing you around and I'll show you what I got going on so far. And this was in between doing the gas tank, letting stuff dry or whatever. So I would just go in and say, maybe this way, maybe that way. Now having the shifter, the B&M shifter up higher, it gives me opportunities to block off the seat area versus what I had before. Once I get in there, I'll show you, and then it'll make more sense. So what we'll do is we'll show you what we got going on, and then we'll take a minute and take some metal stock inventory here and see if I can do something better than what I had, right? So that's what I'm going to give it a whirl. All right, guys, so this is what I'm ending up doing on this round. I put a plate across here to block that off because that was all open right there. And then I'm using the existing rib nuts that I put in along the top there. And then I just have bars that run down to kind of give me the basic shape. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this in 3 pieces like the stock one would be, sort of. So I'm going to have an upper piece right there, and then I'm going to just have 2 side pieces on both sides there. I think that'd be a lot easier just coming in and out as well. And that's what I've got going on. So this flat bar is just 1/8 inch thick flat bar, nothing too crazy. And then I just took some wires and I just kind of welded it to give me my basic shape here. I think this is going to probably be maybe multiple pieces, maybe like from here to here will be 1 piece, 2 piece, and then that way I can kind of form it that way. Anything will be better than what I had going on. And then up at here, obviously back here is going to be the battery. I'm 99% sure I'm actually going to put the fuse box back here instead of up underneath the dash, because it's pretty tight up there. And since I put 2 holes, one there and then one there for the shifter, that's where all the wiring can come up in. And then this will be like a little center console deal. And then my fuse box thing will probably go right back there, is what I'm thinking right now as I'm going along. So that's what we are going to work on. Yeah. Oh, so another note on the legalities of it all. I did have a public notary come over, verify VIN number and mileage on this thing. And I now have a Florida title for it. So I went down to the DMV. Luckily, they are open on Saturdays for us guys in the county. So I went down there, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, I walk out with my title for Florida. And not only did I do that, but I also put, I don't know if you guys knew, a while ago when I got the VW bus, it came with an original tag, meaning that, the old, it's a 1963 historical tag. So I actually registered my bus to that tag. I don't know if you're supposed to show people your tag information, but whatever. I'll just show you real quick. So there it is. So I do have a 1963 tag for a bus on the bus. And that was only like 28 bucks to swap it over. And the tag that I had on the bus, it was a historical tag, obviously, or antique tag because it's old. I saved it, and I'll be putting it on this one for now, or when it comes time to actually register this and poke it down the road. So again, let me check my metal stash here. Maybe take a couple templates real quick with the paper. What do they call that? CAD, cardboard, advanced design paper or something, whatever. But mine is more poster board. And see if I come up with something a little bit more amazing than that gosh awful hump that I had before. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, guys, so we got both the sides done. Let me swing you around here and I'll show you how those are, and then I'll show you what we got left. All right, guys, so I got the one side done right there. I got the other side done, and now we just have to make a piece for the center. But that's the back side, and then this will be rib nutted to the plate that I welded in back here. So let's break out our template material and then make this piece up here. And this right here is just a spacer. to make sure that it doesn't get so close. But the natural curve of how it is, hopefully will bring the air in and then down and out the bottom. All right, guys, let's see if it'll come out. And just like that, it came out. Let me show you the back side. All right, guys, so there's the back side. So I have to weld this to the center rib. I put a bolt in it because when I took it off, I heard ding, 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 ding. And so this strap has to be welded right up in here to make sure that doesn't flappity flap flap. But, oh, I got a wire sticking through. Oh, I got a couple wires sticking through. But anywho, I will tell you, so I was dealing with a little bit right there. I actually, I forgot to trim it out for the bolt. My bad. So I have to fix that. But yeah, so there we go. So let me just run a couple right there, and then maybe a couple right there. And we'll go to the next phase, maybe clean it up a little bit. But yeah. Alrighty, guys, so I put it back in. Comes in and out with no problem. Actually, what I did here, let me show you. So right here are the rib nuts. So this one in the center, I'm going to actually get a longer 1/4-20 and use that as a like a lining up dowel up top. And then I kind of like bringing these up through the rib nuts. There, 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 and there. And then on the inside, just putting a little bolt or a little lock nut on it. And this one right here is going to be my locating. So I need this one probably another 1/2 inch taller just to kind of set it down. And then once that's in place, everything else kind of just goes into place. So down here I still have the clecos. I haven't
Those are going to be 1/4 20s as well, but those will be bolted down, right? So now to make the sides. So I'm hoping that, well, I know the other side where the gas pedal is, I'm probably going to have to put a little dimple in it inward, just to give me more room for my foot. So this side is probably going to be the easiest because it's just basically a flat sheet. And then I'll probably will not utilize the riv nuts that I already have in there. I may drill those out or snap the heads off. And there we go. Just kind of grind the heads off, push them through, and then weld up the holes and then make new ones. But yeah, but let's get our paper templates going here and let's see what we can do. But so far, that is way better than that. Just saying. All right, guys, we'll be back.
Good morning, guys. So today is actually kind of crappy out. It's raining, the wind is blowing through here. So I got as far with the transmission or with the engine hump as doing the top section. I don't have enough material to, well, I probably do if I stitch things together, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait to get the material that I need to finish the side pieces, because I just want it to look right. I just don't want to throw something together and then not be happy with it at all. So, oh, and that entire tunnel I'm making with 16 gauge. So it's not the easiest to bend to try to get that circle deal around. But with a little bit of persuasion and in my brake and hammering it down to get that little bit of curve, but that's where we're at with that. So today I'm going to go ahead and go back on engine motor stuff, transmission basically. So I got in a new filter and a new pan gasket. So I'm waiting for a couple fittings to come in to put the oil pressure gauge in and coolant temp sensor, get those in there, because ultimately this engine hump was basically like a side quest, just something to kind of fill my time up working on this, because it has to be done, and I was kind of getting tired of doing the engine stuff, and I'm really like a paint and body guy. So doing metal work and all that I really enjoy. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Mike hit me up last night and he goes, "Oh, what'd you do today?" And I said, "Oh, I was working on the engine hump." And he's a motor guy, right? So he's actually kind of pushing me a little bit to get it running and let it sit and run through cycles and all that stuff. And I was like, it was funny because he says, "Oh, engine hump. Well, that makes sense," with like ... And I get where he's coming from, right? It's in his mind, it's not, because the mechanicals are the most important, right? You got to have it reliable, you got to have it running, you got to have it this, that, and the other thing. But for my thing is like, I know I'm going to be pulling the radiator back out, and I have my gauges are electronic, so I got to run all that. But you know what? I'm just going to get this thing ready to just fire up. Like, if we go through the gears, great. There's no brakes, there's no nothing, no drive shaft, but just getting it sitting there running and just going through. If I have to take the radiator back out with the transmission fluid and the coolant running through that whole thing, so be it. I mean, probably that engine, I never really like flushed it out with the antifreeze or with water. So, I mean, it didn't look bad at all. There was nothing inside there, but still, there's probably some built up shit and stuff in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to swap out the engine pan or the transmission pan, the filter. When I put the transmission and engine in the shed over on that side, before I brought it over here, it was probably about 4 years ago. As I was trying to get it in the shed, the whole thing kind of dumped like that, and a bunch of transmission fluid came out of it. So I'm not expecting a lot to be in there. But the transmission fluid that came out looked really clean. But I figured, you know, it's a little damp in the front. I don't know if it was the rear main seal that made it damp, We changed all that out, and I don't know if it was the transmission pan that's leaking, but either way, I have it, so I'm going to do it. So what I've done already this morning is I have to take off, well, right there is the driver's side exhaust, because it runs right underneath the transmission in the front. So I got that off. So now I'm going to get up in there and just kind of start dropping the pan, get my like a little table there to catch all the whatever transmission fluid comes out of it, and then we're going to put that all back in. And yeah, I went through my braking stuff, and I have the PV2 proportioning valve. So this proportioning valve has got all sorts of weird fittings that go into it. Basically, the two in the front come out. Hold on a minute. Back. So there's a proportioning valve. So this one and that one goes to the front brakes. These two come in from the master, and then this one goes out to the rear brakes. So this is 1/4 inch. They say you can do 3/16. Oops. 3/16 will work, but it won't work because it's 1/4 inch flare inside there. So I have that fitting. Out of all my fittings, I have that fitting, and I have one of these fittings. But my fitting up here, that's this, the fitting is for a 1/4 inch line, and that is 3/16. Yeah. So those two little flares in there are 3/16. These two are 3/16. So I don't even have enough pieces to make this work. So I'm not going to do the brakes, even though I wanted to. But anyway, so that's kind of like the story on those mechanical parts there. So what we'll do is we'll get into this. We'll start dropping the pan down. If I feel really excited, I will actually drop the transmission or the rear end cover too, to take a look. Why not? And then because I have to service that too, so might as well do the transmission and rear end all at the same time. All right, so that's where we're going to be doing today. So let's get into this. The first half was starting the engine hump. I guess the second half of this video will be transmission and rear end stuff. Okay, let's get working. All right, guys, let's bring you in here, and I'll show you how it looks. Looks great. So there it all is. Like I said, it looks fine. It does have the updated filter in it. The older ones were a little different, but that is the updated filter. I mean, just by looking at it, I don't see anything crazy. And then over here in the pan, it's a little dark, but I mean, if this had 90,000 miles on it, it makes sense. But yeah, just a little bit of this right here, which probably is from sitting, because I know as long as I've had it, it's been what, 4 years, I guess, about. Yeah, but there's nothing major stuck to the magnet at all. Or maybe there is. I don't know. I think it's fine. So let me clean this all up, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so there's the gasket, and then there's the new filter. So according to the paperwork that I got, this is the new updated version, and this is an AC Delco. There's the part number if anyone needs it for 700 R4. So as you can see, that's the old one, and then that's the new one, and the one up in there is new. So I'm going to pull out the old transmission filter and clean up the pan, and we'll go from there.
Okay guys, so there is a seal up here that you have to take out. There we go. There it is. So let me show you this real quick. So this filter has a seal that fits right over here. The new, I'll bring it over. So it has a the new filter has the seal, but when you pull this off, sometimes this seal gets lodged up in there, and it's just inside. Just get a little picky tool and just pop it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'll be putting that right there. Now I'm just going to kind of spray it all down with brake clean, just to clean that up a little bit, clean the mating surface of the gasket, and then clean the oil pan out, or the transmission pan out. So let me get to that, and then we'll get about putting the new one in. Alright guys, so I put the filter back in, or the new one. I gave it a little bit of a Pasco County rebuild there, cleaned it all up, painted it. Now I cleaned all the bolts. You know guys, take the extra time to clean all the bolts and everything like that, because it makes everything go back in so easy. So I put the gasket back on the pan, then I ran up 4 bolts to line up the gasket. So that's what I'm doing now. Okay guys, so what I'm finding online is 90 inch-pounds. So I happen to have an inch-pound ratchet or torque. So we shall see if this is too much or not. I definitely don't want to break these off. So we'll go around. And there it is. So 90 inch-pounds. All right guys, so we've got the exhaust back on. The whole transmission dealio is buttoned up and back in. The only thing is I still have to pick up transmission fluid to put in, but I want to take off the rear diff here, just these series, and let it drop, and let's see what's inside there. I do not have this gasket yet, and I don't have any diff fluid, just as long as with the transmission. So let's just see what we got going on in here. Like I said, this is out of a 93 4x4 S10. You know, it's wider out, but let's see how that looks. So try to leave the top 2 just loose, not all the way out, because you're going to crack it open from the bottom, and then it's just going to rain gear oil. Let's see. Oh no, that looks like brand new. That looks good. Hold on a second. Guys, that looks good. Like really good. Just a little bit of shavings right there, but not so bad. That's really clean. Wow. Yep. How are we in here? Yeah. That's been changed recently, guys. Like, that's awesome. Oh yeah. That's like brand new. Okay, guys. So when we look at the numbers here, it actually says right there, 12. The ratio is 1241. So that would make it a 343 gearing. And then, where is it? Right there. Don't worry about that. That's a brake issue. But that guy right there, so that makes it a governed lock. So this is a governed lock rear end. Basically, it's like LSD, you know, limited slip differential. So you do have to put in the proper fluid for that. It's a good little unit. It's definitely been taken care of, you can tell. And yeah. And again, this is out of a 93 S10 4x4. But that's like brand new in there. I mean, look at that. So let me clean this up and doing a little bit of research. I'm not going to use a gasket. I'm just going to do the whole little bead of silicone around here and a little bead around there. And then we'll mate it back together and then it'll be awesome. All right, guys, let's clean this up. All right, guys, so we've got the surface cleaned up, sprayed it all out. I cleaned up the diff cover and I sprayed the cover flat black. I think what I'm going to do is when I clean up this rear end, I'm just going to paint the whole rear end just flat black. Yep, nothing too over the top, nothing too amazingly shiny down there, just flat black. It'll match the gas tank anyway. So I went down and I got some brake cleaner to clean all this stuff out. But what I picked up was for the gasket. I've never used this, but it's gear oil gasket maker. Well, since this is going to have a friction modifier in there because of the governed lock rear end, I figured why not, right? So let me. I'm going to open up the package. I'm going to put a bead around here. And then I'm going to put a bead on the actual pan itself. And then I'm going to stick those two together. And it's going to be amazing, right? Oh, and I went ahead and I wire wheeled and cleaned up all the diff bolts. So those are like brand new. So everything should go together beautifully. So we'll be right back after I put this stuff on. So I have my bead here, and I have it on here. So let's, goes like that. So let's put this puppy on. Let me get a couple bolts. There we go. So we'll set this on, and then we'll just kind of like that, and then set it. Kind of like that. And there we go. All right, those are 30 foot-pounds, and then you kind of zigzag it around. All torque to 30 foot-pounds. All right, guys, so we got the transmission filter and pan done, rear diff pulled out, or rear diff taken, cover off, resealed. Found out 100% sure that it is a 343 gearing, and it is a governed lockout. I did get the little pluggy deal loosened up and out, so I just have to fill that up with fluid. I have to fill up the transmission with fluid. And let me get this started back in there, so nothing decides to go in there while by the time I get the fluid. And let's see what else. I'm going to check to see if I have, this may just wrap up this video because it's quite a lot going on here for one video. So, but I'm just going to check to see if I have an adapter for 1/2 inch or 3/8 MPT to 1/8 inch NPT for the temperature, for the coolant temperature, which I'm going to be putting in the front. So let me drop this down, and we'll either be back with doing that real quick, or we'll be back to wrap this up. Be right back. Okay, guys, I actually do have the adapter. So let me pop this in real quick. Now what we're doing is just little things. You know, that look, let me move the welder out of the way. Oh. Little odds and end things here and there. So I'm going to be running the head temp sensor, or the coolant sensor, right here, right next to the thermostat housing, right there. Let me actually pull this off so we can get this out of the way, like that. And I do not have a gasket for this. I may just clean this up and then just run a bead along there, because that looks like what it was before. So let me just pop this in real quick, and we'll go from there. A little bit of our thread goop. Get it started. There we go. So my phone just beeped at me telling me that we are almost out of power. So let me just pop this in real quick while I put the phone on the charger, and then we'll come back and talk about it. All right, guys. So I pulled the new top half of the engine cover off. Let me show you what we got going on here. All right, guys. So over here, I did get the sensor in for the temp. This will be for a heater hose, and then the one over there will be for a heater hose. So these are 1/2 inch MPT. So I got, sorry about that. So I just ordered 2 1/2 inch MPT to 5/8 barb for the heater hoses. For now, when we start it up, I'm just going to block those off just to start it up. When we get it in here, this one right here, the heads actually do not go all the way through. So when we put the intake on, this is actually, the head is actually blocked off, so no coolant runs through here at all. I've got another 1/2 inch MPT in there. So I don't have the hex key that large. So when I ordered the barbed guys up there, I just ordered regular 1/2 inch MPT with like a socket. So you can just put a socket on there and tighten it up. This one right here, I actually had the hex key for that. So that one right there, I blocked off because I'm not using that port. And then on the other side, and then over here is where my oil gauge is going to go off the back. I did not, what I need is up top here, I need a 90 degree right here. So it'll be 1/8 inch MPT to 1/8 inch MPT 90. So I can actually fit that on there for the oil pressure. So, but that's just a placeholder right now, just to hold it in there. And I ordered that fitting as well. But yeah. And then right here, this is a 160. Yeah, 160 degree thermostat. I think that's supposed to have a gasket. I don't think that's supposed to go like that. It didn't come with one, but I don't think that's right. So I got to research that a little bit more to find that one out right there. But I have my wiring for this, and now that the radiator's out, you can see I did find a belt that was the right size for this. So I just have to tighten that up, and this is a 95 amp alternator. I may have to get bigger for something that I want to do, and it draws a lot of amps. So for right now, that'll work. And then back here I wanted to, so back here I have to make a mount off the back of the head to mount the transmission dipstick. So it'll be like that. So I can pull everything from the front of the engine to check. But yeah, so I have to make a mount for that. I have this thing that came off the head. It comes up and then over, but I think it's supposed to hold the plug wires. So I still have to do that right there. All right, guys, let's talk about this. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this weekend. We started off with just working on the engine hump a little bit. Ended up being more maintenance stuff, but that's one step closer of firing it up and letting it sit and idle and go to get up to temperature, come back down, because that's kind of important, right? Let's make sure the mechanicals are all done so I can start working more on the sheet metal stuff. That way periodically I can just fire it up, let it run, go circulate through everything, because I do want to change the oil in it once we get a couple heat cycles through there, just because the oil that was in it before was in there for a while. Engine, top of the engine hump rebuilt, and that's coming out sweet. I'm very happy with that. I still have to get a little bit more material to finish off how I want this to look, but I'm on the right track overall. And like I was saying earlier, that is made out of 16 gauge and 1/8 inch strapping. So it's pretty heavy duty, and it's got a little bit of weight to it. But that's okay. I'd rather have something protecting. Right there next to my face is the motor, so that should help out quite well. Transmission filter and pan gasket and all cleaned up, swapped out. So now that's done. I still do have to get the transmission fluid for that. So that's, check that off the list. The rear end taken apart, well, not taken apart, but the cover off, resealed. Got a peek into there, and everything in there looks amazing. Someone, wherever that rear end came from, actually I know where it came from when I bought it, like 4 years ago. When I bought the motor, transmission, that same day I went to another place and bought that rear end. So that immaculate in there. So I have to get the LSD limited slip differential fluid for that. When I get the transmission fluid for that, started getting all my sensors in for up above, up top here, and started plugging up holes that I know I'm not going to use. So anyway, it turned out to be a pretty productive weekend, considering I wasn't really sure last night or Friday night what I was going to work on. But yeah, a little push from Mike to start working on back on the motor stuff instead of the metal work. That's all I needed, and we got it done. So instead of me just blabbing on here, I'll let you guys continue with your evening or day. And hey guys, I appreciate every one of you guys coming in here, taking a peek at what I'm doing, always checking it out. Comments are awesome. I'm glad that you guys are interacting with me a little bit more about what's going on and the questions. I have no problems answering whatever questions. I am an open book when it comes to that. That's pretty much why I started the YouTube channel, was so I could show the processes, maybe another thought process, and basically old trucks like this. I really like old trucks, and I'm really into more of the difficult stuff versus like the 3100 builds, which, there's a lot of aftermarket support for that. But yeah, not too much aftermarket support for this. I'll tell you, there's some things I'm still kind of pondering in my head how I'm going to figure all out how it's going to work. But anyway, again, thanks for coming out and watching me, and hey, go out and build something cool. One weekend at a time, guys. Catch you on the next one. Bye.